Come along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a light worker Johnny. Light worker Johnny. Yeah. Come along and ride on a light worker Johnny. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer, and here with me today is a new friend, Adalah Aza, and I am excited and honored to have this queen with us today. Welcome, Adalah.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Wonderful. Can you let the audience know, let the listeners know, who's Adalah Aza? What are you about, and what do you bring to the collective?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Okay, Let's see what I can do with that. Well, you know, I'm still amazed at my journey. My story is something else, and I still don't believe that it belongs to me. You know, in the first chapter of my story, I was a teenager with a speech impediment. Yeah. By the second chapter of my story, I was a single mother in the 11th grade, Lisa. By the third chapter, somehow I found myself raising my right hand and enlisting into the United States Navy, where I was one of the first females to serve on the naval ship U-S-S Wasp. And then somehow I had transitioned from the Navy to the Army by the fourth chapter. And in this fourth chapter, in the Army, it culminated with me retiring as the first African-American female in field artillery history to earn the rank of first sergeant.
Wow.
By the next chapter, I was opening up 2 vegan restaurants, which were El Paso's first completely all full-service vegan restaurants. But by the, let's say, 7th chapter, that's when things kind of got dark, because that's when COVID entered the picture. And just like many of your viewers, I'm sure, your listeners, people who are in my everyday, COVID took them. So my world got rocked, and I learned a lot about grief. And I learned to appreciate the things that I have in life. So here I am. We'll call this the 8th chapter. So here I am now in the 8th chapter with the beautiful Lisa. And I'm excited about 2022. And I want to tell you that one of the reasons why I'm just so confused about my story, because I can't quite do the math, Lisa. Because in chapter 1 of my story, I was a teenager with a speech impediment. And now I am the founder of a speaking academy called Speak and Grow Rich Academy. And then somehow in the second chapter of my story, I was a single mother in high school. But then somehow when you fast forward, I retired with all of these accolades from the military. And then even so, you know, because it's hard to break our relationships with tradition, right? You know, when I reflect on my beginning years, I love fried chicken and oxtails and shrimp and stuff like that. I never in a million years would have thought that I would be plant-based. I would be a vegan.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, I'm not telling you these things to impress you, but to impress upon you that the journey isn't linear, and 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. Right? And if I can do it, I'm telling you, you know, anyone can do it. And so I'm hoping that you see a little bit of that in your story, you guys out there. Yeah.
Well, that is definite, because we talk a lot about living in the quantum, about jumping the timelines, about choosing your timeline, and truly reprogramming the matrix that you live in, because everything around you is temporal.
Yeah.
Everything can be changed. It's all energy. And when you set the intention and set your energy in motion, and those two things finally meet up, intention with emotion, then there in the midpoint comes creation. So it doesn't have to be how you started. I mean, if I go back to my chapters in my history, right, coming from a family where there was rampant, it was a fear-based life,
Yeah,
you know,
I can relate to
lots
that.
of abuse. There's DV, I have to say that for the YouTube algorithm. The oldest of four, it everything was just fear, right? Even though I have the lovely picture of my father over my shoulder now, who came at the end of his life to understand what he had done during the majority of it, and actually came to this recognition and sense of remorse, and then making things better, right? Try you at least, going down that road of asking for and understanding the need for forgiveness. But, and most don't get that.
Yes.
So going through all of this, I actually was supposed to attend the Naval Academy, but I was only 16, and
Okay.
I wasn't going to turn 17 in time and go to college, and then end up not finishing because of getting pregnant, and then
Yeah.
single mother of three. And how did I get here?
Mm.
How did I get here? And all the twists and turns. But at some point, you're right. It is 1 plus 1 does not ever have to equal 2. I've
That's
had
right.
high level corporate jobs and don't have a degree. Who does that? Well, one that says, I don't need your degree per se to achieve my goal. I don't need that. I am who I am. And so I'm going to be that. But that also comes with making a decision and a choice. And I think if 2020 and 2021 taught us anything, 2020, the year of vision, 2021, the year of change, 2022 then becomes a 6 year and a year of balance. And so now it's time to get ourselves into balance, but balance on purpose. And I think you and I are on the same quantum wavelength about being very purposeful and intentional
Yeah.
about what we do in 2022. So, what would be some of your goals, do you think, or what would be some things that you would say to one if they're like, I've come through all of this, I've lost, I've grieved, I've gained, though, a clear understanding and understanding of self. What would be a step or some steps we could take to be intentional in 2022?
Well, I'll borrow from your story, Lisa. One of the things you said was that, um, what I got from it is that you granted your father forgiveness, in the fourth quarter. And I think that is so important, especially when you're talking about transforming your 2022, because that's basically what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand that we have almost this inner GPS inside of us. One of the things that I love about the GPS is we get in our car, we want to go from point A to point B, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we miss a turn, we don't just say, oh man, I missed a turn, I'm just bump point B, right? No, that GPS, it recalculates, right?
Right.
It says, okay, listen, what you're going to do is you're going to go down the street, make a left, make another left, make another left, and you get right back on the road. That's what forgiveness does for us. Right? It clears out that energy. It clears out that space. It helps us to declutter, right? And so 2022, one of the biggest things you can do is declutter your mind.
Wow.
Clear out that space. Forgive. Because when you open your mouth and you say the universe, God, creator, universe, whatever you believe in, you say, I want greatness. Something inside of me is calling me, is telling me to do this, right? You got to understand that requires 100% of your energy. So one of the things that I would recommend that you do is go back and collect all that energy. You got energy that you left back there with your father. You got energy that you left back there with your children, or that old boss that did you wrong, or those people over there who owe you money. Go back and get that energy. It's not cheap forgiveness. You don't have to hang out with them, but you go back and you know in your mind, I need to get closure. Because why? When you're in the shower and you should be thinking about $100,000, $1 million mergers, and your mind is needed for that, you can't focus because you're too busy thinking about the person who owed you money back in 86. You need that energy. Go back and collect that energy because you need 100% of the energy. We only allotted so much energy a day. I'm not saying it's a little bit of energy. I'm not saying it's a lot of bit of energy. We are allotted what we are allotted. But whatever you are allotted, that's your just due. Go back and get it. Go back and get that energy. Hey, I forgive you. Right? I'm not going to hang out with you.
Right.
No, I'm not going to kick it with you. We're not going to do that.
Right.
But I forgive you.
Right.
All right?
Right.
So whenever I think about you, now I got a better memory to replace that old memory. So if I'm in the shower, that memory of you may come by for a split second. But guess what? My mind is back on that merger. That mind is back on that philanthropy work. Whatever I need to do. Exactly. But go back and get your energy for 2022.
Exactly. And go back and forgive yourself.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because what happens is we're quick to say we forgave somebody else. And we might physically say this and mentally assent to it, but we don't have it in our hearts. And I propose that the reason why we don't have it in our hearts is because we haven't forgiven ourselves for being so stupid to loan that person that money, being so dumb to give that man our body, be that dumb to just allow this other person to take over our power, be all of these things, all of these laughs where we missed a turn and we did this, that, and the third. We don't forgive ourselves. And we need to understand, and understand, as one of my dear friends says all the time, that left turn was actually purposeful because there was a lesson to be learned. There was an experience to be had, because your pain becomes your purpose when you transmute it and use it instead of allowing it to use you and bury you. We don't forgive ourselves. That's how other people keep the power.
Absolutely. And one of the most things you can do to forgive yourself is to just show gratitude towards yourself.
Yes.
You know, stop comparing yourself to the women in the magazine.
Yes.
Stop it. You know, take a look at your feet and you just grab your feet and you say, you know, feet, I'm just so grateful for you. You know, I know I put a lot of weight on you. I know I took you to some places that you shouldn't have gone, but I'm just so grateful for you.
Yeah.
Then you move up to your stomach and you say, stomach, I'm so grateful for you. And I know I'm hard on you. You know, I try to cover you up because I don't think you're as flat as you used to be. You know, the women in the magazine, they got abs. You don't have abs, but stomach, you birthed my babies. You held my babies. You know, then you work your way on up and you look at your arms and you say, arms. Oh my goodness. There were times when I came home exhausted. I mean, I didn't even know how I was going to climb the flight of stairs. But arms, somehow you looked at my children and you picked them up and you wrapped them up. And even after that, and I know I'm telling you, I was exhausted. But even after you picked up my children and you put them down, you somehow you still cooked dinner.
Yes.
How did you cook dinner? You did that for me. Oh my goodness. You keep going. You go up to your face and your head and everything, and you say, oh my goodness, look at me.
Yeah.
I am uniquely designed. Look at this.
Yes.
I've been retrofitted. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not flawed. I'm retrofitted. I am the bionic woman. Oh my goodness. The women in the magazine can't do what I did.
Yes.
They can't create the way I created. Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful for you, body. I just love you, body. You know, forgive me. Forgive me for all the negative talk and the negative energy. I love you.
And the more you do that and you speak intentionally, speak life. Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Absolutely.
So the more you intentionally speak life over your body, that speaks to every molecule of water and carbon and
Yeah.
all that's in your body, hydrogen, everything that's in your body. And then your body begins to respond to that positive, uplifting, life-filled affirmation. And as your body begins to then vibrate at that frequency of love, it then vibrates at the frequency of creation, because you completely uplifted yourself instead of always putting yourself down.
Absolutely. And what I love about that is that is so empowering, because what you just said to me is that, Adalah, that's intelligence located all throughout the body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got the power to heal yourself.
Yes.
You know, you have the power. If you're feeling stressed, you know, you can breathe, and that's medicinal. What? You mean to tell me that this existence of energy? Look how powerful I am.
Yes.
You might.
Yes.
I know you can't see this energy field, right? Not through the podcast, not through the video, but look how powerful I am.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We just got to learn more about ourselves. We got to forgive ourselves. We got to learn more about ourselves. And that's very important, especially as we go into 2022.
Yes. Having compassion for oneself.
Yeah, read the manual.
Yeah.
You got the body.
Ooh, child.
Read the
manual. So once we have compassion for ourselves, once we truly fall in love with ourselves, right? Yeah, fall in love with yourself. Every nook, cranny, a good, whatever. You are who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderfully and beautifully created, right? So as we do that, the next step for me then would be to set an intention. Like, where is it that you want to go?
Yeah.
So how did you start setting these intentions for yourself as to where it is Adalah wanted to go?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that days are like these spoonfuls of opportunities. Either you can make them vitamin packed, or you can create days that are full of junk. And one of the best things that you can do in order to set your intentions, you know, we're using these little gadgets now. We got calendars. We got a handwritten manual calendars, and we got these digital calendars, Google and whatnot. When you do something, like let's say if you say my goal is to exercise, don't put physical training on your calendar. Don't put exercise on your calendar, right? Because when you wake up and your alarm is going off and you look at your calendar and you see from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. you're supposed to be exercising, who's going to be motivated to do that? So I want us to take a look at, because this ties into using your words, right, Lisa? I want us to take a look at how we place things, our words, on our calendar. So what you're going to do is you're going to search your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul for your reasons why you're exercising. You know, last year, the entry on my calendar was be the sexiest woman on the December cruise. You think I missed a workout? You wake up, you see your calendar, be the sexiest woman. Be the sexiest woman in a swimsuit or a sundress on the December cruise. I'm on my treadmill. Listen, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Right? So you have to, you know, you really have to outsmart the ordinary and do things like that. You know, you have to do things like that. So one of the things I want to encourage everyone to do is just position your calendar a lot, not a little bit, a lot of bit different.
Yeah.
You got small children like me. I got a 5 and a 6-year-old. I'm in my 40s, right? I want to be the finest one at the college graduation. I want to pick my babies up when they're getting their doctorates, and I want to twirl them around, right? I want the strength. I will have it. I will have it.
You will.
Right? Because that's on my calendar. I set my intention.
Yes.
Right. I didn't put exercise. That don't motivate me.
Right. It's the outcome, not the activity.
Yes.
And it's using words that is going to invoke a feeling. How are you going to feel when the outcome has presented itself in current time, right? So that invokes a feeling, being the sexiest woman on the December.
Oh yeah.
I feel that myself. I'm like, ooh,
Oh yeah.
all right.
That's right.
So
And
we
keep
have
in
to,
mind,
go
I
ahead.
feel sexy in a long dress that drag. My sexy is my type of sexy. It don't necessarily mean, and it's fine if somebody else's sexy is short dress, but my sexy is a different type of sexy.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, whatever type of sexy you identify with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is intentionally designing what you're
Yes.
going to do in 2022. An intentional design, and focus on the feeling or what's the result of the thing. And that's where I feel like we miss it when we're trying to employ the law of attraction or the secret or something like that, or manifestation in general. Is we get so focused on the thing, we don't focus on, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to feel when that thing is here? Right? Now, when you talk to women about becoming rich, right? Changing their mindset and then
Yes.
changing their abundance. Is that kind of, am I on the right track there? Is that how you kind of help women kind of get to that mindset, or how do you help women get to that mindset?
Well, it depends. Depends on the woman. So I'll give you an example. There is one woman. She is a client of mine, and she wants wealth. So one of the things that I discovered in our sessions is that, okay, she has the skill set, right? But she doesn't have the mindset. So one of the things I had to work with her on is, okay, how do you get someone to go from a poverty mindset to an abundance mindset, like you said? So how do I get her to go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, right? So, so mindset is a big part of it. I say a huge part of it. And then you have some people who have the mindset. They're like, hey, listen, I'm ready. I'm geared up, but they don't have the skill set, which is a lot easier to fix. If you ask me, it's a lot easier to fix a skill set than it is a mindset, right? And so then I connect them with the skill sets. And then sometimes they have the mindset and they have the skill set, but their environment is just so unsupportive. Then I got to go in, I got to work on the environment, right? So it really depends on the person, but I'm a true believer that everything is fixable. And that is a big part of the reason why I usually do a lot of purpose work in the beginning. Because once you're rooted in purpose, when the money goes and if the people leave, you're still standing. You're like, I still can do this. But if you're not rooted in purpose, when the money go, you're like, I quit. The people go, I quit.
Right.
Right? So let's root you in purpose first.
Right. So see, we've started coming up with the map already, right? So have that attitude of gratitude. First of all, be grateful for you and be grateful for who you are as a unique being, beautifully and wonderfully created, right? Unique and fabulous all at the same time, and powerful, right? And living in that life of forgiveness. Got to forgive yourself too. Reclaim your power, basically. And then at the next stage, then you have to be very intentional in how you're framing your world.
Yes.
That's actually really good. I'm going to jump back there for 1 second, because when we build a house from the ground up. We frame the house first, but we know how that house is going to look at the end. And it's what's going to give us joy and happiness. And we're like, this is my house. Yes. This is how it's going to look. But we got to frame it first. You got to frame it right so that you could set it up and so you can catch the vision.
Yeah.
So frame your words, frame your world, right?
Absolutely.
And then we got to work on that mindset. Environment, and skill set. Not necessarily in that order, but I feel like the mindset is first. Yes. Speaking of
I want to say one thing before you go on, because I love that house analogy that you gave. For 2022, when you're picking out the colors of your house and you're thinking about redesigning some rooms and you're worried about the aesthetics, I want to just encourage everyone to just go ahead and pick out the spirit of your house now. Right? What spirit do you want? When I walk in your house, you invite Adalah and Dr. Lisa to your house, right? We're coming over for tea. What do you want us to feel when we walk in through your door?
Yes.
Do you want us to be just embraced with a spirit of peace, a spirit of love? That should be the first thing that you pick out in your house, the spirit of your house.
Yes.
Then you start layering on all that other stuff, but that's very important because I've been in some houses that were beautiful. And when I walked in, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is something off about this house, right? You're right. You just go ahead and just, pick out your spirit, pick out the soul of your home. Yeah.
Yes.
Your business too, and your business. I tell you, my office is just as my work office is just as zen as my home office. So pick out the spirit. Yeah.
But also using that and metaphorically, like when I was rebuilding myself a few years ago, I had to reframe who Lisa is. Who am I really? And when someone comes into my presence, virtually or physically, what energy is it I want them to feel immediately? What do I choose to emote? What do I choose to be clothed in and surrounded by? So when you're reframing your house for 2022, your personal, this house, this temple, and then building your physical house all around it, what is it you want somebody to know, notice, feel, interact with the minute that you come on a camera or on a phone call or whatever?
Yes.
Because that's going to dictate how well you do in 2022. Because if you still got a nasty attitude, ain't nobody going to want to be around you.
No, not at all. Look, don't put out the energy that you want to. Put out the energy that you want to attract back.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
That's right.
Most definitely. And so to me, then the next thing would be, we still do need some sort of a concrete plan here. We talked a lot about a lot of other things.
Okay.
Do you find that people falter on the concrete plan part? Especially if we're talking about going into business of some sort or being an entrepreneur of some sort. Where do you think we may lose it in that space?
That's an excellent question. I would tell you that, because we're talking about business and we're talking about dreams. So I will tell you that the number one killer of dreams is fear. People let fear stop them. And fear is something that it isn't seen. There's no evidence. You're afraid of something that hasn't happened, and you're giving it all that power. Now, let me tell you what you can do about that. One of the things that I feared was speaking many moons ago. Now you can't get me to be quiet, but many moons ago, right?
Yeah.
And what I found is, once I did the research and I saw that, people who don't speak up, they lose in excess of $15,000 a year. That's just if you have a job and you're not speaking up at meetings because nobody's recognizing you. And if you don't speak up at something as simple as meetings, then you're looked at as unnecessary. You're not speaking up. Your voice is not on the record, right? So 15,000. You know how many vacations I can take a year with 15,000? You let me marinate on that, right? So once I started doing the research on all the dangers of not speaking, right? I know the fears. I understand the fear of speaking, right? But on the dangers of not speaking, I was like, wait. I'm more afraid of being outside and not having a roof over my children's head. I'm more afraid of living an unlived life than I am of picking up a mic and the little shakes that come along with it in the beginning. I'm just more afraid of that. If you really want to kick fear's butt, then you need to find something that is more frightening than it. For example, running. I hate to run, but I do it all the time because I'm more afraid of dialysis. I'm more afraid of the predisposition things that are in my blood because of my lineage, right? Of diabetes and things like that. And my heart goes out to anyone out there who has those things. But I'm more afraid of those things than I am of the feeling that my thighs get when I run, when they shake. You know what I mean? I'm more afraid of those things. So I run, right? So if you really want to kick fear in the butt, find something that's worse than it to motivate you.
Wow.
Because if you do, you will build and you will launch that business and you will fall in love with your purpose.
Yes. Yes. And as soon as you can't take that safety net off from underneath you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I don't believe in a plan B, you know. If you got a plan A, you come up with a plan A1 and a plan A2, a plan A3. Go to plan A1000 if you want to, but there is no plan B. There is no plan B.
No.
Once you find out your purpose, there is no plan B.
No. And it provides for you. I have a saying that we need to give our purpose permission to provide for our person.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, Dr. Lisa, it's hard for me to be on your podcast because I really want to go over here and take notes when you say stuff. Like I want to say time out. Let me write this down. Because I'm not a fast learner. I am a detailed learner. And I like to write some stuff down. I'm like, if this woman keep on inspiring me, I'm just going to have to hang up with her.
Listen,
so I got my pen in my hand like I'm actually about to write something down.
Listen, that's the 20 some odd years of running around the preaching and walking around in the office of the prophetess. You know, we come up with an alliteration like that, boy. If being a black preacher don't do nothing else for you, let me tell you what it does do.
I'm listening.
You come up with some alliteration. You come up with a saying. You come up, honey. We know how to move. We know how to move the soul.
I see. Yeah.
So that I have to thank that part of my life, that chapter of my life, for and you could take the preacher from behind the pulpit, but you can't take the pulpit out the preacher. So
But before you go, let me just give a warning to all your listeners. If you ever have the opportunity to come on the Dr. Lisa show, some people you don't go around without pen and paper. Bring your pen and paper, right? And don't do like me and stand up. Sit down so you can take notes up under the camera, without people knowing. So put her on the list of one of the people you come around with pen and paper, or you will regret it. But I'm very fortunate that this is being recorded so I can go back and get my ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. It just comes. But you know what? The inspiration comes as I'm speaking with someone who is truly inspired. Because if you're not connected, we can't connect together. And the two of us connected together. Now we're just getting straight from the pipeline.
I love it.
Straight from the pipeline. So I want you to talk to the folks here a little bit about, tell us where they can find you, and also talk to us about some of the programs that you have, the coaching opportunities, how they can work with you. I want folks to understand how they can come work with you.
Well, yeah, like I said in the beginning, I am the founder of the Speak and Grow Rich Academy. Every month I do a Speak and Grow Rich workshop. It's a 5-day workshop, thinking about narrowing it down to 3 days. But the workshop is free for the next few months. You can find it on Eventbrite. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Adalah Aza, and I spell Adalah. Last name is Aza. And I am also on LinkedIn.
Fabulous. And we're going to have all of her socials and ways to get in touch with her and work with her in the various description boxes everywhere. So don't miss it and don't overlook it. As soon as you're done taking your notes, go down there and click it. Because I have a feeling, when she decides that whatever she's going to do with her workshop, you guys want to take advantage of it right now, because she's going to be elevating what she does, what she do in 2022. So you all want to get on that elevator ride with her.
Thank you.
That would be highly advisable. Adalah, this has been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. We definitely will don't want to have you back
I would love
again.
to be a repeat
And
offender.
oh my goodness, I feel like I could learn so much. You might see me in that next their workshop. Okay, so don't.
Come on, so I can pass you the mic. I can
No,
go
no, no,
drink
no,
some
no.
water and have some coffee.
No, no, no. I just I come and I bring it on
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
But this has just been amazing, and I can't wait to have you back and for us to continue to work together. Thank you
Yes.
so much for what you're bringing um,
Mhm.
to the world, to the collective, to the feminine. We so very much appreciate you.
It was amazing.
Thank you. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thank you again. Don't forget to do all the wonderful likes, subscribe, follow, shares, all of that wonderful stuff, and go check out those links that are going to be in the description box below. As always, peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. We love you so much. Namaste. Bye, guys.